Ancestry makes the perfect gift to give people because it literally blew my mind.
It's literally like you're giving them something that they would have no knowledge of.
Which is very important because for us to basically be able to find our missing family or to see my indigenous heritage confirmed inside there. It's one gift, but it's so many different things.
Show someone where they came from this holiday season with Ancestry DNA. Now on sale at Ancestry.com.
Fall. It means there's a crisp chill in the air. It's time to gather wood for the season's first fire, and the leaves are piling up outside. But along the coast of South Carolina, fall is kind of like summer, only cooler. Fires are simply for roasting oysters, and the only raking you might do is in a sand trap of one of our many challenging golf courses. Tap now to discover the joys of fall on the coast of South Carolina, or visit fallinsc.com.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis, a podcast dedicated to the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hey everybody, hope you guys are all doing well out there. It's Wednesday, and we thought we would do a little podcast today, mostly in honor of it being the 1-year anniversary of Tylee's death. And man, we've been following this case since December, and man, I thought about her so much yesterday.
Yeah, I did too.
And today.
Yep.
It's just it's been a year. That has to be really, really hard for the family and everybody. Those first anniversaries that roll around are always the hardest.
Yep.
They don't get easier over time, but all those firsts, first birthday, first anniversary of death, it's just heavy.
Yeah, it's like it becomes a new norm.
Yeah.
So you get used to, doing something different.
Yeah, and this is not a typical situation, so you have the pain of everything that's come in the last year on top of that first anniversary. And so we're going to talk about Tylee in just a bit. But first, we finally heard from somebody who was in jail with Lori.
Yeah, that took forever.
It did.
I would have thought somebody would have come out already.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think the thing, though, is that Madison is such a small jail. And so, you just don't have the volume of people in and out there. And I think she's pretty heavily guarded. So access to her, I'm sure, isn't as plentiful as it would be in a bigger city or something like that. So you may have people that have talked to her that just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. But this lady did.
Yeah. She had some interesting things to share. It looks like she kept a journal.
Uh-huh.
I read that she kept some type of journal or something.
Right. And she was in this segregated pod because she had gotten in trouble. She had broken jailhouse rules. But the jail did confirm to Nate over at East Idaho News that they were in a pod together for 4 days. And they had their own private cells, but they had kind of a common area. I guess they call those the pod, where they can watch TV and read books and make their phone calls or just talk to each other.
Yeah, and I think this was right when she came back from Hawaii, right?
Uh-huh, it was.
Yep.
I think the lady was already in the jail because they had heard she was coming in, and so everybody was very curious to see her.
Yep.
And to see how her demeanor was and that sort of thing. So we're going to go through some of the things that this lady said. She wanted to remain anonymous, which
I don't blame her.
I don't blame her at all.
No.
But one of the things she let us know was that Lori, those first couple of days, talked to Chad and Colby a lot.
Yep.
She overheard some of the conversations. She did say that at one point she had like AirPods in her ear or earbuds, and so she couldn't hear what was being said on the other side. But I'm sure if all you really want to hear probably is what Lori says anyway. I mean,
true.
But I don't think the whole time she had the pods in because she had heard Colby say some stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep. So she didn't ask Lori about JJ and Tylee to gain her trust.
Yeah.
She said she was upbeat and friendly.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. I mean, you've just been arrested, but I think maybe in Lori's mind, this was probably at that point a very temporary thing. I think she probably thought she would get sprung as soon as she got back to Rexburg.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she was so upbeat. I mean, we've noticed the change in her demeanor from that first appearance, which is kind of what this article revolves around, was that initial appearance in Rexburg.
Yep. Head back. Yep.
Yep. And the chin up in the air with the smirk, to now it's her face is covered and
Shoulders are forward.
yeah, slumped. Just a very different demeanor physically, at least. So the one thing Lori said was she was glad to be in Madison because she said the roaches, there were roaches on the floor in Kauai at the jail, and she thought the food in Madison was nicer. It was better.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing, though. We watched a special on this jail, and everything there is homemade. They don't bring in processed food.
Yep.
So the guard that was given the tour of the jail or telling about the jail, he said pretty much all the staff eats there every day. And my dad, he owns a business, and sometimes he has to go into prisons. And he said, I would starve before I would eat prison food. He was talking about things he's seen where, like, one dude dropped the cornbread on the floor and just picked it up and put it back on the thing and cut it up and served it. So apparently the food here is rare for jail food.
Yep. What's crazy is I was thinking that same thing when you're about to say that. I was like, oh, I remember we watched that thing.
Yeah.
It says she was totally aware of all of it. She said, we have the death of Kobe Bryant and COVID, but no, there's me. I'm the lead story. I'm more important than all of that stuff. And that's what they were telling East Idaho News. She knew she was the main story and she liked it.
Yeah, that's it's not surprising with her. In fact, I watched the Miss Texas pageant this week, and I have to say, it was a little awkward to see a grown woman like strutting her stuff on. I don't know. I just don't get pageants, and no offense to anybody who does them. For me, I'm just too much of a tomboy, and I don't get the need to do that. But it's almost like she felt like she was this celebrity going into her performance. She ate it up. And if you look at certain parts of her life, at one point she wanted to be a famous actress, and then she does these pageants. Some people don't mind any publicity, even if it's for probably one of the worst things you could do the worst thing a mother could do in life.
Yeah.
But she was just excited that she was the lead story.
Yeah, it's just sick.
It is sick.
Yeah. So Lori showed off her blue nail polish, worried about her dry skin and how it would look at the hearing. Mm-hmm. So we're still looking at appearance.
It reminds me of that Carly Simon song, You're So Vain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you remember in Hawaii when she had the flip-flops on, the cameraman zoomed in on those blue toenails. I bet they're looking a little rough at this point.
Yeah, they ain't blue. They ain't blue.
They probably 3/4 of the way grown out.
Yeah.
And dry skin, I mean, they don't have a little Sephora in the commissary.
True.
So, welcome to jail, girlfriend.
Yep. So this lady loaned Lori her deodorant, lotion, and makeup to use, and we know this is when she come in the courtroom with the bright red.
Yeah, that court hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, she said that she asked the inmate how she looked, and the inmate hesitated when she told her it looked good.
Yeah. Now, she busted up in there looking like Homie the Clown.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You just dated yourself on that one.
Okay.
Because nobody watches that show anymore.
If you remember who, it was, what was that show?
It was In Living Color, right?
Oh, yeah. And it was one of the Wayans brothers that just had this crazy makeup on. And
Yeah, funny show.
Exactly. So the inmate who I guess knew a little more at the time about jail life and what you can do to make yourself, look more made up. She told her to use just a regular number 2 pencil to fill in her eyebrows.
Wow. I use that to fill in the circles on testing.
Yeah, exactly right. See, when you don't know, see.
Yeah. Make little drawings out of everything.
Yeah, I remember, when we had time test and I would have like 15 questions and they would say, "Oh, you got 30 seconds." I would just start bubbling in
Oh
C's.
yeah. Yeah.
But it's just the this next part to me was sort of, just it's nauseating where after the hearing was over, she got this woman and was like, "Here it comes. Here's my story. Turn it up. Let's see what they say about me now." And that is just, it's almost like she doesn't know why I don't want to say she doesn't know. She knows, but it's like she totally just doesn't care about why she's there, which is the fact that we didn't know then, but she did. Her kids are dead.
Yeah.
And it's just, hey, I'm bigger than Kobe. I'm bigger than COVID. Here I come on the TV.
Yeah. And we know from other people making statements that she loved like being in the courtroom. And I guess that makes you the center of attention.
Yeah. Well, she seemingly had a desperate need to be the center of attention in everything.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. I guess because she's waived these last 2 court appearances, so clearly her opinion on how big this case is has gone from, oh wow, it's all about me, to I don't want to be seen.
I ain't got but $1.95 in my account. Mr. Mean, you got to stay in your office today and not come down.
We're gonna send smoke signals to each other.
Yeah.
Get tin cans.
Yeah.
And, like, I wonder, is anybody keeping her accounts up for commissary or phones these days?
I hope not.
That's something I've wondered about. And we talked last time, we brought up the point, is anybody from her family still talking to her? And we just don't know. But I wonder, does she have, maybe Mark Means could put money in there for her. I don't know who knows, but there's always stupid little things that I wonder about.
Oh, yeah.
They don't mean nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I'm like, how much money does she have in her commissary account? Who is she talking to?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yes, it is.
So this next part is like whatever. So Lori left frequently, leaving like to meet with her attorneys. An attorney now.
Well, at that point, it was probably the 3.
The 3, yeah. When the inmate asked Lori about bonding out, she says she hopes so. And this is horrible, but she ran a finger from her head down her body and said, "We'll see if all this is worth $1 million."
Oh boy.
I can't. Like, your kids are murdered. They're in the ground. And you make a statement like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think part of the appeal among many appeals for Chad is probably that maybe Lori did something for him that he's never had done before in whatever way. And women sort of know the power they have with those sort of things. And so in her mind, she probably thought, what was that movie, Indecent Proposal, where it was like $1 million if the guy could spend one night with it? Well, this isn't Indecent Proposal. I hope this is worth $1 million. That's gross.
Yeah.
That is so gross.
I just can't. I like just when this case, I'm telling you, like, until you don't think anything could get any more weirder or horrible,
right? And she's trying to be somewhat. It's her attempt to be sensual, but it's just gross. And obviously, it wasn't worth $1 million because
she's still in there.
There she is.
Yeah. Colby was asking, when she talked to Colby, he was asking what's going on, where are the kids. And I think he shared some of that on one of those interviews he did.
He did. He said it was frustrating, I believe.
Yeah.
And I don't think he got anywhere. So she also would talk to Colby about past memories, I guess, from when they were all together. And then she would ask to see his baby daughter on camera, which, I wonder if Colby did that because at this point, you've been arrested. At that point, we didn't know the kids were dead officially. I would have a problem, even if that were my mom, showing her my child when kids are missing and all that. I think it's very hard for Colby. He's lost everything except for his wife and his kid. Siblings, mom, and then world turned upside down.
Well, it's not like you're on a FaceTime and you're on vacation somewhere and you haven't seen somebody in a while. Like you're
Yeah.
in jail.
Exactly. And Colby would get frustrated with her apparently these couple of days that this lady heard them talk, and she would just tell him to read scripture and read about Job. And she said she was being tested like Job.
Yeah. No. No. That whole scripture and all is no, she's not Job.
Yeah.
Um
So she just told Colby to listen to her, and she says everybody wants to know, but it's none of their business. God doesn't judge me, and they shouldn't judge me. The prophet says to stay off social media, so don't go there.
yeah.
Who's the prophet?
I know Chad at one point claimed to be the prophet, so I'm assuming she's talking about Chad because obviously they've fell off the deep end and they're nowhere near the LDS beliefs. So I know he claimed to be the prophet, and
Well, I don't think any prophet from biblical days is going to say, "Thou shalt not Facebook."
yeah,
So the prophet must be like a modern day.
it's got to be Chad.
Yeah.
And if he
Ancestry makes the perfect gift to give people because it literally blew my mind.
It's literally like you're giving them something that they would have no knowledge of.
Which is very important because for us to basically be able to find our missing family or to see my indigenous heritage confirmed inside there, it's one gift, but it's so many different things.
Show someone where they came from this holiday season with Ancestry DNA. Now on sale at Ancestry.com.
He did say that. Like, I don't think they can get on social media anyways, but she's telling Colby to stay off of it.
Right. And I'm sure that at that point, Chad's out. And we know that there were members, I know especially Emma's husband, Joseph, was kind of stealthily in some of the Facebook groups. So I'm sure Chad was able to look in some of these groups when he was free and see what was being said, which is not going to be good stuff.
No.
There's nothing in there. There was that one group that was ran by him, I think, that was in support of her. But yeah, I mean, I guess she just didn't want him reading how messed up this whole case is, as if Colby probably didn't already know.
Yeah. So this next part, it's kind of weird that she never talked about her religion, but was always active in reading scripture and praying.
Yeah, I guess the gathering job was finished.
I mean,
She was a gatherer.
supposedly they're still supposed to gather, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and she also says that never once did she talk about JJ and Tylee.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, okay. And then after the lady was released, she did message Lori and said she would love to keep in touch. So Lori responded, "How are you doing? I've been praying for you. I'd love to visit with you. I'll schedule you in later today. Hopefully that'll work." But she never heard from her again.
Yeah. And I think she said everything has a purpose. God has a plan for everyone. His plan will be accomplished.
Yep. And then somebody asked, could she be called as a witness? I don't think so.
I mean, there's really nothing.
There's nothing there.
No.
If they did, it would have to be something that directly related to the crime that Lori told her.
Yeah.
And even then, the defense would totally try to rip her to shreds just on a credibility level. This woman's not going to be called as a witness, I don't think.
I don't think so.
The jury doesn't care, who she talked to on the phone and what she said. Now, if she had told this girl specifics about the case, then yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a little jail schedule here that kind of tells a roundabout of their day.
Yep. So 7 a.m. they wake up and have breakfast. The inmates are then given cleaning supplies and scrub everything down. Then you have lunch at 11:30, 1 hour of outdoor time, and then dinner at 5 p.m. and you're in your cell for the night at 11.
Yeah. I mean, where she's at right now, if she thinks prison is going to be the same, she's mistaken. It's a lot different in prison. There's a lot of people. She's not going to be as protected in prison. She's not going to have probably, at least initially, I know a lot of times with really high profile client or inmates, I won't say clients, inmates, they may put them in solitary for a year for their own protection, because you get into a prison with fellow lifers and they have nothing to lose, especially in Idaho. It's a non-death penalty state. So there are probably a lot of women who are in there until they take their last breath who would love to be the one to hurt or kill Lori. So she's going to have a lot of protections once she gets to prison, but it's going to be very isolating, and she's not going to have this free time for 4 and 5 hours where she can, just stroll around this pod with 2 other people in it. She's going to be in a gen pop area eventually with 100 ladies.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's sunk in for her yet that this is probably the rest of her life. But I think somebody like Lori, no. They always think in the back of their mind, somebody's going to see it their way.
Yeah, this is...
Some judge is going to have a revelation, or a jury member is going to have, the whole jury is going to say, oh man, poor Lori.
Yeah, or if she's comparing herself to Job, she's going to think, oh, this is just part of my suffering for God and whatever else.
And that kind of goes along with cults in general. When things don't happen, there's always an excuse as to why. And it's never like maybe we're just full of it. There's always some excuse.
Yep.
So moving on, Kay and Larry spoke out about the change of venue request that Pryor did. Since we've been on, Pryor did file for that change of venue.
So what did they have to say?
Well, Larry made me shoot coffee through my nose with what he said. Larry was talking about Chad having the charge, or when Pryor made the motion to drop the charges.
Gotcha.
Larry said he has as much of a chance of getting those charges dropped as I do flying to Mars. Unless I can get into Lori and Chad's portals, then maybe I can. That's so funny. And then Kay said, we sincerely hope they find an impartial jury. We don't want appeals once they're in prison. We want them locked away and the key thrown away.
I totally agree.
And we agree with you there, Miss Kay.
Yep.
So the change of venue came, that was last week. We haven't heard anything else about a hearing for that. He did ask for a hearing. And
imagine that.
Yeah, that would have to be one, I guess. But
yeah.
So what's this Mark Means tweets that went out last week?
Oh, this is crazy. I don't know what he's thinking.
It wasn't the most thought out tweets, I don't think.
So Lori's always accused Kay and Larry to be in this for the money. Is he trying to spread that opinion on social media to make him look bad?
Yeah, because the tweet originally was, he deleted a couple. The first one he put out essentially said that he was accusing Kay and Larry of taking off their microphones right before they went in the courthouse. So in your mind, you're thinking as they walk through the door, they're ripping mics off.
Well, almost I think the way it was worded, it was almost like security had caught them.
Yeah.
With it to start with, and I'm like, what? Yeah,
and then he deleted that because the response was swift and it was not supportive, as you can imagine. And so he kind of did a second tweet, which was about them doing this A&E documentary, and they're getting paid for it. So then he went from insinuating that, because, in that original tweet, he said something like, well, the hearing was streamed. Almost like they were trying to record the hearing. Okay,
yeah, it was almost making them look dumb.
Right.
Which we know they're not.
So he deletes that one. The next one talks about the money for A&E, and it has the cash signs on it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I can't figure this one out.
I can't figure him out
because just by default, because he represents Lori and at one time represented Chad, he's not popular and he's not liked among trial watchers or anybody. So I'm not sure what the point of this tweet was.
Yeah, you're not going to tell me that later on he's not going to write a book.
Yeah.
Come on.
Something.
Yeah.
And then he's complained about the media attention on the case, and then he does this. And it ends up and hits like news sites.
Yeah.
So it's kind of counterproductive to what he had said in the past.
It backfired.
Oh, it backfired big time.
When he first, I don't care what he said in it. When he attacked Kay and Larry, I was like, what is he doing? Really?
Lori and Chad cannot profit off the murders. Kay and Larry live in Louisiana. They just had damage to their house as well because of this hurricane. They live in Louisiana. These trials are going to take place in Idaho. These hearings are going to take place in Idaho. It is not cheap to travel and get hotel rooms and eating meals out, airfare, and everything that comes along with being long distance to a trial that you're involved in.
Yeah.
So if Kay and Larry are making money off of this, they wouldn't be the first family to offset costs by doing things like this. It's nobody's business, is
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
People can have their opinions about, well, it's tacky, it's this, it's that, but who cares? You're
Yeah.
not Kay and Larry. You're not having to foot the bill. They're business owners.
Yeah.
There's, it's not a huge business. They're small business owners. I'm a small business owner. I understand it.
Yeah.
And so if they're making a little money to offset the cost of what's to come, because we could be looking at 2 separate trials they've asked to join, but I expect them to not want to do that.
Yeah.
So I understand it. And it happens all the time with people in these high profile trials. And so I think if he was trying to sway the public, opinion about Kay and Larry, it backfired in a really big
Yeah.
way.
It was dumb.
Yeah. So I just kind of feel like, I still, and he has that last tweet pinned on his page up top, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
You would think with
what they've been through,
right.
then you're gonna, they're documenting. It sounds like they're doing a documentary.
Right.
Well,
and the thing is, he also sort of, in the tweet that's pinned on his page, it says, in any case, if a potential witness, and it has witnesses, is or are being personally compensated for their involvement in a documentary regarding their knowledge of facts and statements of said case, their credibility and authenticity is rightfully in question. Now, Kay and Larry are on the witness list. Is this a ploy to maybe ask that they not be witnesses? It ain't gonna work.
yeah.
It's not going to work. They are not breaking any laws. And if you tell me that Rob Wood doesn't know that they're doing an A&E documentary, then yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Kay and Larry would follow any advice he would say if he said, hey, this is not a good idea right now. It could compromise things. I think Kay and Larry would happily step away.
I totally agree.
So not sure where he's going with that, but
yeah.
Man, some of the things people were saying.
What do you expect?
Yeah. You're not.
I think Kay and Larry are awesome.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I hope one day we get to meet them. They're just adorable.
Yeah.
And I really feel for what they've been through. And if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have had the welfare check.
Exactly.
So anyway, so yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of when Tylee was last seen.
Yep.
And so we wanted to pull some things. It's not easy to find a lot about Tylee online. A lot of her stuff was private, and some people had said that she really wasn't active on there very much after like 2016 or 2017. So, but just going through some interviews with her friends and people that knew her, we were able to pull some things about her. And I think it's just. She had only been in Idaho a week before she went missing.
Yeah, that jumps out at you.
It really does. I believe all this was planned way before they moved to Rexburg. But they had her out with friends.
Yeah.
She's not here. She's out with friends.
Yeah.
I've never made friends in a week that I just go hang out with. And,
yeah.
What else?
So she loved her Jeep.
I love my Jeep.
Yep. Her favorite shows were Supernatural, Gilmore Girls, and The Office.
I have to back her up on The Office.
Yeah. Gilmore Girls. That's hard to say. That was pretty cool. I think it was a little bit older show though.
Yeah, and my daughter is watching Supernatural right now. She loves it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
It's really typical teenage stuff. The Supernatural and Gilmore Girls. Pretty much every teen girl I know watches those two.
So her favorite color was purple.
Yeah.
And then the question that we ask sometimes is, Tylee had to have known about Lori and Chad, and the move to Rexburg.
Yeah, and I don't see how it wasn't known to Tylee. Tylee's not stupid. She didn't seem like she was a fool. She was spunky and seemed to be on top of her game with calling people out. So I think maybe she just expressed her disdain for Chad and to Lori, or I don't know. I mean, I just feel like Tylee probably knew there was something going on there.
Yeah.
And I mean, probably expressed she didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so we've always tried to figure out between the reason for the murders. Is it because Tylee just didn't get along with Chad and it was maybe going to be a problem long term? Or was it religion, or was it a little bit of everything? We don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like she had to have known her mom was screwing around with Chad.
Yeah.
She's 16. She's almost an adult. It's not like you can fool her.
Yeah.
And you have Chad coming down to, where was it, Arizona,
Yeah.
to stay in the house and that sort of thing. I'm sure at some point their paths crossed.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So what was the next part?
Well, yesterday I was just thinking about all the things that Tylee won't get to experience in her life because she was murdered by her mom. Even if she wasn't physically killed by her mom, to me, I consider it that she may as well killed her.
Yeah.
But I hope she experienced like that little first love, that butterfly, heart racing something. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just seemed like she was just shuffled so much. It might have been just so hard for her to make. She seemed to have some long-term friends, a few of them. But I mean, as much as they moved, it had to have been so hard for her to really plant her feet.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I hope she felt something like that at least once.
Yeah.
Something that all teenage girls just, love.
She
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group. Wake up at Holiday Inn Express to a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. Count on all the hot, fresh coffee you need and an incredible breakfast buffet that has something for everyone, like eggs, cinnamon rolls, and even hot, fresh pancakes with all the toppings you crave. Next time, do yourself a favor and stay at a Holiday Inn Express with a can't-miss breakfast that's free with every stay. So, when you wake up at Holiday Inn Express, you'll wake up happy, a part of IHG Hotels and Resorts.
seemed most happy in Arizona, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gathered too. I mean, look, they had moved from what? She was born in Texas, Arizona, born in Texas, moved to Arizona at some point. They moved to Hawaii, maybe back to Texas, Arizona, then Idaho. I mean, and if you remember, one of the things that Colby said to her was like, give the kids a place to just plant themselves.
Yeah. Grow some roots.
Because, I'm sure Colby was doing the moving around before he moved out too.
Yeah.
Seems like maybe the Arizona when Lori and Charles were, he was what, like 11 or 12? So he had a few years, but they were pretty stationary when Lori and Charles were married, other than the move to Hawaii. So the other thing that I thought about yesterday that really made me feel so sorry for Tylee is, if you think about it, we had the podcast where we went through all those custody documents with Joe Ryan. And it seems like Lori kept Tylee in this cycle of drama pretty much her whole life.
Yep.
And we saw with the Joe Ryan custody dispute that Tylee was a pawn. She was a power piece that ensured Lori got what she wanted.
Yeah. And when you've been in it that long, it just becomes just part of who you are, and you become used to it. You
do. And we saw that on the body cam footage when Charles was shot, how she was calm and collected because, and then also, if you remember in the Barnes & Noble, when there was the altercation, it was noted when she was 5 that she was very okay with what was happening around her.
Yeah.
So it just seems to me that Tylee was just there.
Yeah.
Like, she used Tylee when she needed her, such as child support payments from Joe or whatever. And then you're looking at benefit payments after he dies. And we still, I mean, it says in there that he had to keep out a life insurance policy. But I just feel like maybe it's hard to say that I've seen anything where she just had like several years of normal without any drama.
No.
I mean, it's just sad.
Yeah.
I look at my daughter, who is a year younger than Tylee was when she died. And I can't imagine putting her through that. I can't imagine putting any of my kids through that for selfish reasons.
Yep.
But Lori's selfish.
Oh, exactly. So Tylee hadn't been active on social media before her death. Mm-hmm. One of her friend's moms said it may have been for religious or personal reasons.
Yeah, she wasn't sure, but she said that from about 2016 or so that she saw her less and less on there.
Yeah.
And then like her Instagram is private. Some stuff has come out, some screen grabs and stuff of her Instagram, and we're going to talk about some of those in a little bit. So then some of her friends had given interviews after Tylee's body was found. And one of her friends that lived near her in Arizona said that Tylee never talked about her mom's religious beliefs.
Yeah, that's it's just odd what we've seen.
Yeah,
how her belief system was.
Could be Tylee was embarrassed.
Could be.
I mean, I don't think I would want to tell my friends that my mom thought she was an exalted being and all this stuff. So it might not have been a subject Tylee wanted. Maybe when she got with her friends, the last thing she wanted to do was talk about her mom.
True.
Like most kids.
True. According to another friend, Tylee said her family was leaving Arizona because her mom had gotten a job in Idaho.
Right. But Lori also told the new neighbors that she was there for school.
Yeah. So it's just part of Lori's lies.
Yeah.
And I think you have some stuff where somebody at the Gilbert Memorial spoke out.
Yeah, some of her friends there talked to the media, and apparently she had 3 or 4 best friends in Arizona, and they just didn't know where she was for months or why Tylee had stopped talking to them, and they just didn't know what was going on. And one girl was talking about they would go on late night drives and they would blast music and hang out, and the friend talked about this awesome sarcasm that Tylee had. That sounds a lot like our teenage nights, hanging out, late night drives, blasting music.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing the fun things that teenagers do.
Yep.
And so I was really glad to hear that she, had some times with her friends where she could just be a carefree teenager. There's that picture in the desert on the couch, and her smile was very different than smiles I've seen with her mom and stuff. She just looked happy. Like her face kind of just reacted more in the pictures with her friends.
Yeah. It's almost like she could be a normal teenager.
Yeah. And with her past, there wasn't much normal about it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she thrived in those moments with her friends.
Yeah.
She was only 16 when she died. That's just, you're just so young.
Yep.
And obviously they didn't hear anything from her once she moved to Idaho. And they noticed a shift in her behavior around that time too. And I'm sure the stress of it all, not wanting to go.
Yeah.
She didn't want to go.
Yeah, she went because of JJ.
Right. And you can tell her friends, and I don't feel comfortable tweeting out videos that are public, but they're from kids' accounts, like teenagers' accounts. But there are some videos on a couple of her friends' Facebook pages where you see this really cute typical teenager. Just she also had a second YouTube account, by the way, and I'll maybe see if I can find it again. They had done these it's like a phone challenge where you have like 30 seconds to do something, and you just see Tylee like laughing, and she's having such a great time.
Yeah.
And her first YouTube page has some playlists, and I've been tweeting out and Facebooking some of the songs that she had, and a couple of them were very I don't want to say eerie, But there was one just about life, and you got to keep going, and things are bad, and you just have to stay positive. And you kind of can imagine looking at that playlist. That was just her emotion, because I think music does that to us. It does with me. I'm a huge music nut.
Yeah. So
my playlist, I can pull up any playlist and pretty much tell you at that time what I was feeling when I made it.
Yeah. So, one of the girls sent her a text on October 19th, right? And said, just want to tell you that she missed her. She says it took about a week to get a response.
Mm-hmm.
And all that was said back was, miss you guys too, love ya. And the girl said that she spelled out her words for the most part. And plus, she would have texted more if I reached out.
Yeah, so we know October 19th. At that point, Tylee's dead. And this is Lori responding. She did it on the Venmo. Is it Venmo?
Venmo's the payment deal.
You could tell nobody sends me money.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to say
That's
it.
that money.
And Colby noticed the change in the emoji she used. So people were starting to say, this is kind of weird at this point.
Yeah. That's gonna be an evidence too.
I mean, we
Like
say it about every podcast,
I know,
but
right?
There's so many
More
unanswered
evidence.
questions. We've just gotten such a bare minimum to bind them over for trial.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her friend said that when Tylee lived there, she would respond immediately, and when she moved, it decreased in response time, so it would get longer and longer, and so we were also talking about Colby. How, for a while there, he was texting her, why can't I text you? Why can't I call you? Why can't we FaceTime?
Yeah.
And we know it was Lori. She seemed close to Colby, as close as you could be with a brother 5 years older.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, when Tylee probably got to an age where they maybe could have hung out and actually had real conversations that aren't kid-based, he was probably gone to college and out of the house.
Yeah.
For a while at least. But we know she broke down with him the day Charles was shot and killed.
Yep.
That might have been like her little safe place with him. Big brothers are that way. There have been times where I've been strong. I talk to my brother about something, I lose it because it's safe.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about when Lori thought that Tylee was her dead sister.
Yeah, just odd.
That is a heavy burden for Tylee.
Yeah.
If to think that my mom thinks I'm her dead sister. No, she was Tylee. She was her own person.
Yeah, just weird.
And so down here we have somebody who was neighbors with Tylee in Hawaii.
Okay.
Okay, you're not following me, are you?
No, I got a text. I'm sorry.
My phone. Okay, so my youngest daughter got her own cell phone today because when she goes to her dad's and stuff, I like to be able to, if she's at friends' houses, and she's always at her friends' houses, and I don't know where she is, so for safety reasons and a few other things, we got her a starter phone today, and she has Snapchatted me, Instagram me, because she uses my account, and I want to make sure I see what she's doing. She has texted me 3 times and called me 4 times since, and she's saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we're both a little distracted today. I'm actually going to turn my phone off.
Yeah.
But this girl lived a few doors down from Tylee in Hawaii. And she says that Tylee was always very happy and she loved JJ and did everything with him.
Yeah, you can see the videos and
You really
the
can.
pictures and stuff.
There's a cute one where JJ's sitting on like a little bar stool and Tylee is talking to her friend who's filming, and then she's talking about JJ and she said, that's my child. And she goes and puts her arms around him.
Yeah.
And she also says that Tylee and Lori had a really close relationship when she knew them. They were very in sync and seemed like a normal mom and daughter. But she lost touch when Tylee moved. But they reconnected briefly when Charles was shot and killed, and she texted her friend texted her and said, I'm thinking about you and I hope you're okay. And Tylee says she's okay. And that was the last time she heard from her.
Wow.
So, it's gotta be hard for her friends.
Oh yeah.
We lost friends in high school to accidents and things like that. And it's hard enough.
Yeah.
But an accident, it's not predictable, and sometimes it's just not avoidable.
Yeah.
So for her friends and JJ's friends to have to deal with a double murder and these kids being buried for almost a year on not their stepdad, on Chad's property, man, it's just, I can't imagine having to deal with that now, much less as a kid.
Yeah.
And somebody that you ran around with and had so many fun memories with.
Yeah.
Another girl said that she had texted Tylee on the day she was last seen. And on the day she went missing, she told me, "I love you." And I said, "I love you too." And then I never texted or saw her again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough. So stuff on her Pinterest, there was lots of exercise fitness links. A mom from Hawaii whose daughter was friends with Tylee said Lori would shame her about her weight.
I could totally see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think Lori was a fitness instructor at one time, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Miss Texas pageant, she had the shortest skirt on that stage and the tiniest bikini. And so for somebody like Lori, who's so vain that she would use Jolly Ranchers to make her lips look red before a court appearance, I totally could see her shaming Tylee.
Oh, yeah.
Tylee was never tiny. I mean, she was the cutest little thing, but to somebody like Lori, and I'm sure that's hard for a girl to know that your mom feels that way about your body.
Yeah.
Because as a mother, when my daughter says, "Oh, I'm getting fat," or, say something like that, it kind of makes me sad because she's not.
Yeah.
But her perception of herself sometimes can be harsh. And being a teenager is hard enough. And maybe you have other people saying that to you, but if your mom is shaming you for your weight, and there were so many exercise and fitness links on there, that was probably half of her Pinterest.
Yeah.
So you could tell she wanted to do this probably for herself, but I'm sure a lot of it was for that motherly approval.
Yep.
There were some travel hacks like packing tips and things like that. There were makeup links where the tutorials on how to do makeup. All these girls today do that. These, James Charles and all these famous makeup people. In the 80s, it was like a cotton ball for your eyeshadow. I mean, now my daughter's like, "No, you have to use this brush and your highlighter goes here." And then again, we look at our 80s pictures and see how jacked up our makeup was. Whoever thought blue eyeshadow was good, but and then she had some photography, only a couple of those. One was kind of a road that you could see far in the distance, but it was hilly, kind of like that road had hills. And I thought that was sort of symbolic.
Yeah.
And then the photography, one was a ballerina and kind of a silhouette. There were a lot of motivational quotes and a lot of LDS kind of like scripture quotes.
Yep.
And then hairstyles, and there were a couple of posts to teen bucket lists. Just typical teenager stuff. You could kind of see her demeanor was really clear to me through her playlist on YouTube and her Pinterest, which is just typical. Doing what normal kids do.
Yep.
So then we found her account on Ask FM, and that's just a website you go to where you can have random questions thrown your way, and then you answer them and they stay on your profile. So the first question that she answered, "What's the worst advice you've ever taken?" And she said it would be a good idea if you go down the slide on your skateboard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't end well, I bet.
And
no.
What else?
Where and when do you get your best ideas? And she said, "When I'm with my friends." Do you believe that playing is more important than winning? And she said, "No, why play if you don't want to win?" I agree wholeheartedly on that.
That's a girl.
Yeah.
And are you hardworking or lazy? And Tylee gave the best answer. It depends on what I'm working on. Because if I'm like rearranging my pantry, I'm going at a snail's pace. But, if I'm doing something really fun, I'll put my heart into it.
Yep. What do you do if you can't sleep at night?
She says Netflix and Instagram.
Yep.
And my son got braces put on yesterday. And I was sitting in the orthodontist office watching him get them put on. And then I thought about, because I was kind of looking up stuff for this. and came across some pictures of Tylee with her braces. And, you think about it, those are a commitment financially, time-wise, upkeep-wise. And so I got to thinking, I've always felt like Lori definitely has mental illness, but she's also just evil. But, when I see a kid with braces, I think if that parent is financially able to, that is something you do for your kids so that they are more confident. It's not something you do if you don't care about your kid.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that, like, at some point, she was doing things for Tylee that would benefit her in the long run, like braces.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe it's a crazy thought, but I have to go once a month now for 2 kids, and it's expensive. So at some point, she wanted Tylee to kind of have it, but then again, it's physical appearance. That could be the whole thing with Lori.
Yeah, or is it she's showing the court?
Could be. But at that point, I don't know when she got him, but I don't think she had him when she died. I think maybe she got him taken off. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, it's a commitment for a parent, financially and time-wise.
Yeah.
What changed?
Yep.
I think that's $1 million question. What changed?
Yeah.
What happened? And then if we just go back and look at things in the past that we know about with Tylee being in and out of the hospital, all the poking and prodding, trying to find this illness that they probably never found. I just think that if you took stock in everything in this kid's life, so much was bad, and it all seemed to benefit Lori.
Yep.
All of it from the time she was a baby.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Monetary.
I just wonder if she felt like she really had somebody. Somebody who just was always there. Not a friend even, maybe an adult that she could confide in. It's hard because, like, I was thinking about Colby, he got married. He moved out, got married, all that stuff. I know at some point they were living with Charles and them. But it's, I remember when my brother got married, we're the same age difference, and I was in high school, and there he was married. So we didn't have a lot in common to talk about all the time. He's off working, doing his own thing. I just hope, and I know she leaned on Colby, I just wonder if she had one person that wasn't Lori, or maybe wasn't even family, that she could open up to. Or did she feel like she was alone and just sort of, whatever whim Lori had, she was just kind of right with her with that.
Yep.
I hope she had somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too.
And we can't forget she was labeled as a 4.1 dark by Chad.
That still, for me, goes along with, I think Tylee expressed that she didn't care for him.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to look. He would have been the reason, essentially, in her mind, probably, that they had to move.
Yeah.
If the prophet's telling them they got to move to Rexburg, yeah, I just think that, maybe that had something to do with it. It's just she didn't like Chad. She didn't like what he was doing to her mom.
Yeah.
As far as seeing that change in demeanor.
Yep.
So the last thing was on Tylee's Instagram. We had some posts that we found, and in a lot of her posts, Fruit Loop, she's just praising her mom.
Yeah.
Just one of the posts says, "My love for my mom grows every day. She is truly the best person for the job. Through everything we have been through as a family and as individuals, her faith just gets stronger. She's the best example of how I want to be as a mother someday. Happy Mother's Day."
Yeah.
And there was another one.
It's this is a slightly random but much needed. Thank you to my mom for always being there and helping me so much. She's the greatest little mommy in the world. Little hashtag emoji things.
Says love and gratitude for her. She obviously did my hair. It was a picture of her as a kid. Hashtag always and forever. And then the last one was a picture of her and Lori, and she says, "I won the lottery with this one as my mom. Hashtag happy birthday."
Yeah.
So that's so sad.
Yeah.
It's just so praising and meant to flatter. And it's like, is that, it,
Was it true? I mean,
Right,
I've been
that's-
around teenagers.
right. Or was that the wish?
Yeah.
Was-
You always want your parents to be your knight in shining armor and to love you unconditionally and be there for you and just have this best relationship. And I've been around a lot of teenagers where that doesn't happen, but they portray it to be that way.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like, did she post what she wishes it was really like?
yeah.
We were raised in amazing families. Our parents have just been our rock and the ones that pick us up when we fall. So for me, it's so foreign that a parent could be mean to their kid like this. But she breaks my heart.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're going to talk about JJ in a couple of weeks as well, like we have with this. We just sort of felt like Tylee needed her time to be acknowledged, and we're on that anniversary. And
Yeah, this whole thing is about seeking justice.
right,
And making, the people who played a part in this pay for it.
right, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We were talking about how quiet it's been, but we have Lori's hearing tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time. We'll cover it on Twitter. Going to be very brief again. I guess the biggest question is whether or not she'll have her mask on.
I bet she does. She's hiding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I guess she ran out of Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah, she's hiding.
Or maybe her skin's a little too dry
Her skin's dry.
for the camera.
Yeah.
What a diva.
Yeah.
A wannabe diva.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would love to know more about Tylee. I think we definitely would have liked her. We like spunky people. She had a story, and it's sad to think that whatever lesson she learned in her 16 years, she can't carry over into adulthood to maybe make people's lives better.
Yeah.
Just senseless in
Yep.
every way. So many questions that we have, and not a lot of answers right now, but we will get there.
Yep. Yep, it'll come.
It will.
So I survived Saturday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you had your
Yeah.
walk with your mom in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the walk, and we do it again this Saturday. I'm trying to get my brother to go so he can help. Like the first mile and a half is like kind of uphill, not too bad. But definitely my calves and my hammies were struggling. They were burning. And she's asking, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And so it was fun though. It was fun. We have some more people coming this weekend. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
I'm not doing this with them because I'm lazy. But yeah, so we haven't seen each other much the
No,
last
it's been
week or
crazy.
so. I haven't really texted you much.
no, it's been quiet.
But with school starting back, it's been, I think we're on a better schedule this week. I think we're getting it down pat. But
Yeah.
my kids have had appointments, and I've just had, cleaning my house and just doing baseboards. I'm at that point. I whipped out the toothbrush yesterday. It's just, I'm stir crazy, but trying to stay busy. But yeah, it's weird when I don't talk to you for like a week.
Yeah, and my mind's in mission trip mode, so I have that coming up in a few weeks. So
Yeah.
I'm in overload trying to get everything finalized and prepared because I'm leading it. So I'm like, oh, I'm in charge.
Yeah, your mission is a really cool. I like the concept of just being outdoors and hiking and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't work on her mission. That's her thing, but it's so awesome. Fruit Loop has the biggest heart for people. And so it's been exciting to watch this grow.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's grown, and we get to go out to this little bitty church in New Mexico and
Sounds
help
great.
them and fix some issues on their church building and stuff. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. So we have this big, huge mountain here. It's the highest point in our state. And my mom for 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago?
I think it's getting like 4.
I think it's 4. She had about passed away, had some health issues, and ended up in ICU for 11 days. And So it's been this journey. We were in a car wreck and broke her leg. So it's been this journey. So Saturday we walked on the trail at the beginning, and then she wanted to go to this mountain, and this mountain has built a big tower type thing that you can go see 360-degree view.
Yeah, I tweeted out pictures of Sassafras.
Oh, did you?
I
cool.
did.
So, so to get up to that top of that mountain, the handicap is not accessible yet, and we knew this going up. So we get there, and my mom's like, "I'm walking up this big mountain," and I'm like, "Okay." So she did it. She made it all the way to the top.
I know those pictures literally brought tears to my eyes because we were in the ICU waiting room for days, not knowing if Fruit Loop's mom was going to make it. And I'll never forget talking to the nurse. And I have a little bit of a medical background. For a good while, I worked in the medical field. One day I need to tell you guys all my crazy jobs. I even took eyeballs out of cadavers for donation.
That was weird.
But I remember asking the nurse, what's it looking like? And she looked at me and she said, "We are chasing her." And so just to see that picture of your mom and her smile in that picture at the top of that mountain, that's the biggest smile I've seen since she ever got sick.
Yeah. And people would pass her coming up and down, and they would say, because, handicapped people don't climb this hill. Like, it doesn't happen. Because it's we've been up it.
I can barely climb it.
Yeah. So she just plugs along and just keeps on going. And I walk behind her, and she made it. And everybody was so supportive, just telling her she was an encouragement, great job. So it was really cool. It was a good day. And the view up there is amazing. So
it's so nice.
Yeah. So it was beautiful. A cool day.
Yeah, I'm just so proud of your mom and proud of you, Fruit Loop, because if the world was full of Fruit Loops, it would be a much different world.
Crazy place.
It would be crazy, but it would be a lot kinder.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we'll keep you guys posted. I doubt we'll do a podcast tomorrow about the hearing just because it's going to be super quick.
Yeah, it's going to be in and out.
And so we'll see what happens between now and maybe a week from now. We're kind of scaling back a little bit on the podcast because there's just not a lot of content right now.
Yeah.
We have some plans about digging deeper into other people like we were doing, but
we run out of people.
Well, yeah, we run out of people, and I've just run out of time in my day right now.
Yeah, it's crazy hectic.
Yeah, so mom's number one. That's my priority, is take care of these kids, and it's been a job.
Yep.
I was in bed at like 8:30 last night, you guys.
You old.
Your mama's old. So, but I think that's all we have for you.
Look, we took up an hour of their time.
Is it an hour?
It's an hour.
Good grief.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
keep shooting out questions.
Yes, please do, because sometimes that's the only content we do on a podcast. If we've had crazy days, it's easy to just kind of gather some questions and go from there.
But they come up with the best questions.
They do. Yeah. It's just nice having a fresh set of brains on the case.
Yeah, and like other people looking at other people's posts. Sometimes we get stuff. Somebody shares something.
Yeah,
that we didn't see. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's all for now. Hope you guys are doing well, and we will live tweet that out tomorrow. So follow our Twitter and YouTube and all that good stuff.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.